Hi, I came to Embrace about 4 years ago. Really needed some help with my older son, both with his academic tutoring and also getting ready for all of the standardized testing that he had to do. I just loved how they kind of analyzed what would work best for him. Then they worked with his strengths, and also the way that Jason kind of broke things down into smaller components so that wasn't like so overwhelming for him. What I loved about Embrace is that they really worked with us to determine like what my son's learning style was and what would work best for him in terms of the amount of hours and also the type of tutor that they would assign to him. So that was really important to me. And we found Jason, who is absolutely wonderful. And he basically learned the way that my son would, I guess, involve him in how the learning process was and really get him to grasp like the testing concepts and how best to like parse out his time during the tests, which was a huge benefit for my son. Then he really like honed in on what subject matter did he struggle with the most, and it ended up working phenomenally because I felt like it saved us time in terms of like running around trying to figure out like what test was best for Quinn, because he figured out right away that the ACT was better than the SAT because of the way my son learned. He actually got my son up from a PSAT, or I guess PACT score of a 27 all the way up to a 35. So I was blown away, we were all blown away, and ever since then I've been recommending him to anybody who asks. And then my younger son, another success story, and is a very good student, all honors, all AP, and he basically worked with him on the SAT. So when they did his analysis, they determined that that test would be better for that son. And what ended up happening was set up a learning schedule. Again, we went with the same tutor because we loved him, and brought my son from a PSAT score of 1150 all the way up to a 1450. And he is going to take it again because they're changing the way the tests are done. So we're going to take it one more time and try to break 1500. So that's it. In terms of how working with Embrace has changed my children, two different things. My older son, it really gave him a lot of confidence going into the test. So every time he would work with Jason and take another test, the scores would continue to go up. And then there might be 1 week where it didn't go up, and Jason would say, "Hey, did you remember to do all that homework I gave you?" And my son was like, "Oh, I actually didn't this week." And so he's like, "See?" He's like, "You got to put in the time. If you put in the time and the effort, you will get that better score." So that to my son was like a big aha moment. Like, I can't just show up here every week, not do my homework and continue to think that my grades are going to go up. But once you buy into the system and you end up doing the hard work and you really learn because they're telling you what to focus on, your scores are going to go up because it worked for my son, and he really talks to the kids at their level, which I think is really awesome too, because they end up getting it. They end up saying, okay, if I work hard and I do everything Jason's telling me to do, my grades are going to go up. So it worked for him. Works because I think my son finally realized, like, oh, if I just work the way that works best for my brain and the best way for me to take in information, then I'm going to be the best that I can be. So it really built his confidence, knowing that like an adult and a teacher was saying, it's okay to learn the way you have to learn. There's a lot of options out there for tutoring, a lot of options out there for test prep, and it's a big investment, so you want to make sure that you're making the right decision. I interviewed a lot of different places, and I found that with Embrace, what really set them apart was their desire to make sure that they match your child's learning style. And they provide you with a lot of opportunities to kind of pre-test and determine like, where should I invest my time and effort, and what tests should I be focusing on that match your child's learning style. They are willing to work with you and determine like what is best for your schedule and your needs, and they always had options. And I also felt like they did a really good job of trying to understand our lifestyle, what would work best for our schedule, and then also what would work best for both of my children's learning styles. So to me, that put them ahead of other organizations that I interviewed, because they really took the time to sit down with me and understand how they would best fit into our family instead of me having to fit into their schedule. So that to me was a home run.